Hello and welcome back to Marineford TCG. My name is Joe. Drink of the day is a Tenzing Peach and Honey Melon, and it's a good day if you're a yellow player because we've finally had the final secret rare reveal from this set. 8-cost Blackbeard, and oh boy, has he caused a bit of a stink already. But first, if you're looking for the coolest TCG accessories on the market, you've got to check out Sleeve Chief. They've got all sorts of awesome products for you, including this brand new instant ramen deck box. And if you're a fan of One Piece themed deck boxes, you can check out the Emu 5 Elders themed deck box. They've got binders, they've got sleeves, they've got deck boxes and everything you could possibly need. And if you do make a purchase on Sleeve Chief, make sure you use code MARINE for a tasty 5% off. Thank you to Sleeve Chief for sponsoring this video. So 8-cost Blackbeard is an 8-10 brick with the Warlords and Blackbeard Pirates types. On play, you get to look at the top 3 of your deck and then put 1 to the top of your life cards, and then you put the rest at the bottom. This is the first time we've had an effect that all-in-one card lets you stack life. We've seen this type of effect before with things like in Boa. You could do the 4-cost blue Boa, stack the top of your deck, and then next turn play Kuma, and then you would sort of curate what you heal to the top of your life. And in that way, it could be very, very powerful, because you could put like a Gorgon Sisters there, and your opponent's going to walk straight into that, but you know it's there, and you get a lot of flexibility with that. Of course, we've had other cards that can stack certain things to the top of your life. 8-cost Gecko, Gecko Moria is the biggest example, but this being able to put anything there, it's going to be a little bit more random than Gecko, but has the potential to be incredibly powerful. Before we move on to talk about the effects properly, the trigger can negate one of your opponent's characters for the turn, then you get to KO a 5. Now, the fact that that's split up is pretty relevant, as I'll sort of discuss more on the next slide. But this is an insane trigger. Very, very good trigger. It's a finger pistol trigger, but miles better. So obviously this is designed for Black Yellow Blackbeard. I think it's going to be far more generic than that, but you can of course include it in that deck, and then just divert into him with Leader Effect. It's searchable off Fuller Lead, which is great for your consistency. And don't forget, it's also searchable off Lilith. I don't think we're going to be running Lilith in Blackbeard, but if you were running another yellow deck that wants to search for this Blackbeard, you can run Lilith as an option. Now, in terms of the trigger, here's why it's relevant. Like, into Cavendish, this is a common board state you might well see. They'll have a Leo protecting the Cavendish. Well, because this trigger is split up, you can negate the Leo and then KO the Cavendish so that they can't save the Cavendish, which is incredible. If it just said negate and KO the same character, you wouldn't be able to do this. But that's a really good effect. And this trigger is also relevant into other decks as well. Into Enel, they love playing out this Reiju, where you can negate her to get rid of the extra cost and then just pop her. And into things with annoying on-KOs like Nami or Hogback, you can negate those on-KOs before you KO the character, so they don't get that annoying effect. I just want to touch on, I think this trigger is like actually kind of insane, and Blackbeard stacking another Blackbeard could be a very, very real possibility. If this hit a 6, Enel would be cooked. Enel would be crazy cooked. But yeah, this trigger is really good. And now in terms of the on-play, of course, the biggest comparison is to Moria. They're very similar cards. They have the same stat line, they're both bricks, they're both warlords, they both heal. Of course, Moria has the option to play something out, but he doesn't tend to do that very often. And they both have really good triggers. Now, which is better is going to sort of depend heavily on your deck building. Because Moria is more reliable in what he does, because you get to curate that card from the trash. Blackbeard being a top 3 search is going to be random. And in fact, for every time you play Blackbeard and see Kikunojo, San Juan Wolf, Shiryu, there's going to be another time where you play him and see Fuller Lead Lafitte Burgess. And you're there scratching your head like, I guess I'll take the 1k, bro. So, I think if you're a true yellow player and a true gambler, you'll prefer Blackbeard. But the reliability of Moria just guaranteeing you that Hogback trigger or Kumasi trigger into either playing out the Sticky Hogback or playing out the Perona to deny the swing is going to be more consistent. However, there's also a deck building cost with Moria. If you're playing Moria, unless you're playing one of those wacky Boa builds I've been seeing recently that just jam 4 Moria and no Perona or Hogback, which is insane, by the way. I don't know if you've seen those builds coming out of Japan. But you're mandated to run sort of 10 to 12 cards alongside this Moria. You got to play 4 Kumasi, you got to play like 4 Hogback and 2 to 4 Perona usually, alongside this Moria. So it does really eat into your deck space. So if you are playing a deck that doesn't have a ton of deck space, you can easily just jam in 4 of this Blackbeard and go about the rest of your day, because it doesn't matter that you don't necessarily have any direct synergies like you would with Moria, because Blackbeard can synergize with everything. And like, I mean, worst case, if you don't see a trigger, you can just use this as a top 3 search, effectively. Oh, what's that? You need your 10-cost Blackbeard for next turn? You've somehow whiffed it all game? Great, well, here's another chance to get a top 3 search, and if you find that 10 cost, just put it in your life, and then you can take that life. Your opponent will go, whoa, crazy, no trigger. But they don't know that you just set up your play for next turn. And you can do this in other decks. If you're playing this in Blue Yellow Army, and you're in a matchup where you really need Whitebeard, you can just put the Whitebeard to the top of your life, and then just take that. So you have that guaranteed play for next turn. So I think in this way, whilst he himself is less consistent than Moria, he does actually help with the rest of your deck's consistency, inherently, which is kind of weird. There's also the possibility to play both, I suppose. If you want to play Black, Yellow, Moria, or some other deck with both of these, using Blackbeard to stack Moria's trigger would be very funny. Stack Moria's trigger, Moria trigger, play out a Zoro, heal. Could be quite amusing. So I do think there's good potential for this card in other decks, and one such is Boa. He is a Warlord. You can search him with Sengoku, and then you can set up triggers like we discussed earlier, how they've done it in the past with the Boa and Kuma combo. You can just have a Boa Kuma combo in one card, and just stack a Gorgon Sisters, and your opponent doesn't know. Seems pretty good to me. Not sure exactly how many you'll play in Boa, but the stat line's incredible, and the potential is there. Also, because it's a Warlord, you can give this Fema, which is kind of funny. Also potential, I think, in all of these decks. Realistically, you can play this in probably any yellow deck, and it's not going to be a bad play. Like, I could see you playing this in GY Lore to put a 5 cost there and then pull him out, maybe. See people talking about this in Red Yellow Sabo to stack stupid things in your life that have funny triggers. Stack a brother there, play a brother for 2, pull him out. I don't know, I think you'd be able to play this in any deck realistically, but here's some of the ones that I thought I had most synergy with. Nami's just the best yellow deck at the minute, and you could maybe run this alongside Thriller Bark, or instead of Thriller Bark if you just want some more big healers, but don't want to commit to that many Thriller Bark cards. Moria, you could run this as extra copies of Moria. Is it better than 9-drop Boa in this deck? I'm not sure, but it's another option to try. Yellow Bonnie has pretty cool synergy because it has a trigger, so you get the Don to give to your leader. And Vegapunk as well, I've been seeing the people talk about just being that massive dude that then can just realistically always grab a trigger body and put it in life. Because Vegapunk just plays something like 20 to 30 trigger bodies, depending on your build. I could see it having potential there. But again, realistically, I can see this Blackbeard being really solid in pretty much any yellow deck. I don't think this is as insane as some people might be thinking, despite what the funny thumbnail might suggest. But I think this is a very, very solid card, and it's going to be the best secret rare in the set by some way, I expect. However, we do have another secret rare in the set, and it is Portgas the Ace, 561k, all character cards in your hand with 8,000 power, become plus 2,000 counter. And then on play, on KO, you get to look at the top 5 of your deck for a Whitebeard Pirates or a Monkey D. Luffy. It's really nice that you get this on KO. So, one problem I do see with this card is this, basically. You play it hoping to turn your bricks into 2Ks, and your opponent goes, Pink, Gamma Knife, Mama Organ. But at least you get the Yonko, you get another dig, right? So you're going to get 2 cards minimum out of this guy in most scenarios. There's not too many bounce effects other than sort of like Blue Jozu at the minute. But if you get this to stick, this is an incredible card. Turning all your bricks into 2Ks is great, because this isn't a one-time thing. I remember playing RG Odin back in the day, and that leader turning your bricks into 1Ks was great. And this will fix one of the issues I was sort of foreseeing with the deck, in that you're going to play a lot of bricks. Like, a lot of bricks. So this is cool for that. And if you can get this to stick, it is going to be pretty good. I can also see a world in which you play this in red, green, Luffy, and Ace. Not so much for the 2000 counter effect, obviously, but just because it's a 561k that's called Ace, so he gets that opponent's turn buff and can grab you another Luffy or Ace or like a 2k for your next turn. Also, you can play it off of the green lore, 6-cost lore in that deck, which is pretty cool. Not sure if it will actually see play, but I think it's worth noting. And also maybe even worth noting in red, blue, Ace. It's sort of competing with the blue Yamato for the same slot. You don't get the Dom, and this first effect is, again, probably not going to be very relevant. But you get a top 5 search, which is better than the draw 2 in terms of assembling your 8-cost event plus 10-cost Whitebeard combo. So if that is all you're concerned about, is increasing your consistency of playing Whitebeard on 8, I think this is actually better than Yamato for exactly that. Of course, there's downsides. You do draw 1 less card, but only if this guy gets bounced, because otherwise you can get the on-KO later in the game, which is cool. And you don't get the Don leader, so if you're playing this on 5, it's definitely weaker, because you won't have your once per turn effect to draw, potentially. But I do think this card has potential in both of these decks. It's just a shame that you won't really get any value out of the 2000 counter thing. But just being a big body searcher, pretty reasonable. The other red card we've had revealed recently is Monkey D. Luffy, 4/6, Impel Down Straw Hat. If your leader's card name includes Ace, and then you have 6 or more Don on your field, it becomes a 2/6. Pretty cool. And then on your opponent's attack, you can trash 1 character with 8,000 power from your hand. Your leader and this character's base power becomes 7,000 during the turn. Now, this one I can kind of only see playing in red Ace. This opponent's attack effect being locked to 8,000 power, that is really the effect of the card. Just being a 2/6, I fear, is probably not good enough to warrant playing it over some of the other good Luffys we have in red-green Ace. Or red-green Luffy Ace, excuse me. But this opponent's turn effect is very, very good for red Ace. I like that they thought about the fact that it needs to buff itself as well. Otherwise, he just becomes immediately targeted. He's at least still the same power as the leader. But this is another card you need to stick. Another card you need to stick. And we do have this Marco, who they have also revealed that is really nice for stopping removal. But it's like, when are we playing all these cards? Because if I play the Luffy on 4, there's a good chance they just remove it already, and then it's not there for my Marco to protect when I play Marco on 6. If I play this later, I like that there's a good chance to play this later because it has -2 cost, but you're not playing it on 8 probably because you want to play that Newgate down as soon as possible. So maybe you're playing this on 10 alongside something else. I'm not sure. Until I get a few games with this deck, the curve feels a little weird, but I really like the effect. It's going to be great for defense and cheating card economy. We've seen a better version of this in Blue, Yellow, Nami. The one thing that does scare me a little bit between all these effects that want you to trash cards, and specifically 8,000 power cards, is we're going to need to jam a lot of those in our build, and we also don't really have much draw. There's the Vista that draws 1 when it comes into play, and then this Ace can help a little bit with that, for sure, but red has often struggled with card economy, and I'm not sure whether or not you're going to have enough cards to use all of these effects. We'll see. Definitely need to try some games, but I think both this Luffy and the Ace are both quite promising for red Ace, if you can dodge an L just killing them immediately. We've already talked about Marco. Let's talk about Boa. This Boa is incredible. 7/9 unblockable. I think this is the biggest card we've seen with just unblockable. If you don't count Roger, I guess. And then on play, one of your opponent's characters other than Monkey D. Luffy cannot be rested until the end of your opponent's deck's end phase. Lore, funny. There's actually a few relevant things that this can't hit. The black 7-cost Luffy in Crocodile. The 6-cost double attack Luffy in GP, in RG, in Brook. That guy, you can't stun him. What other Luffys are there? There's the 5-cost yellow Luffy, the one with Rush, can't stun that. So actually quite funny, there's a few relevant things in the meta that this can't hit. But this effectively being a 5/9 because of Green-Blue Luffy's leader effect, this is crazy. You get out of one swing, and you also potentially stop something blocking. 9k stat line is really, really good. And having inherent unblockable is going to give you a lot of offensive pressure when you combine it with maybe cards like Brook. You could very easily play Brook on the next turn, swing a good amount of unblockable twice. And there's also the world in which you play 2 Brooks on the same turn because of Luffy's effect, and swing 9 unblockable, 9 unblockable, 9 unblockable, whilst resting 2 of your opponent's cards. So you can like rest some Dons or something, which is quite funny. I think this is the sort of boss monster that this deck needed. Very, very value efficient, buys you time, and then helps you land the killing blow. I'm still not sure about this blue-green Luffy, but I haven't played any games yet. I need to play some games with this deck soon. Once all these cards are on the sim, I'll probably intend to play this deck very soon, because I can't really make head or tail of it. The effect feels so mediocre, but combining the early pressure from some of the like low-cost impel down swingers, like the Mr. 2 and the Mr. 1, with now this late game sort of stun closer threat, I think has a lot of potential. And I also like that this is a 7 cost, whereas the Ivankov is a 4 cost. Different curves. Blackbeard could never have an advantage to going on one curve over the other. What a treat. I could also essentially see people trying this out in the generic green leaders. Mihawk, Bonnie. Yeah, it's not going to be searchable in those decks. You're not running Impel Down searchers in these. But maybe in the future we get a Warlord searcher. That could be something. And then this Boa becomes searchable in Mihawk. But yeah, it's just a generic, good green card. It fits in quite nicely on the 7 Don turn, where you would maybe play like a Hody Jones or the 7-cost Secret Uta. It's another nice option to have and will help you close out games very, very easily with the unblockable. And in terms of blue support, we got this 5-cost Buggy, 5/6/1k, Impel Down, and on play, if your leader has the Impel Down type, you draw 1 and then play a prisoner from your hand. And then once per turn, when your opponent attacks, you can activate this effect and give one of your Prisoner of Impel Downs blocker. You can play this in green-blue Luffy. I feel like we're not, but maybe I'm wrong on that. I'm not sure if green-blue Luffy is going to want to go down this heavy Prisoner of Impel Down package. He could, but this sort of package lends itself much more nicely to the Buggy deck. And the Buggy deck is another one I'm really not sure what to make of it, because I can see this effect being really good. Your opponent tries to play board, you play more 6k vanillas. Your opponent tries to remove with effects, you can play more 6k vanillas. And now we've got a way to just cheat one out inherently, alongside all the effects that pick up one of your guys and allow you to use this leader effect from their cost. Like 6-cost Jozu, for example. You pick up a guy, if you've got a Don in your leader, you get to play a 6/6 Prisoner of Impel Down from that effect. And giving them all blockers gives them other use case as well, alongside just being like decent statted bodies for aggression. Being able to turn them into a blocker is nice for defense later on. And in fact, if you block with one, you can then play another one. You have a Don in your leader, which is funny. My concerns with this deck are basically, can we draw enough Prisoner of Impel Downs? And how many of these cards do I have to include in my deck? Do we have to go above 16? Because if your opponent starts playing board and you run out of these guys, it's going to feel really, really bad. It is going to feel really bad. And because it's a specific named card, that gives me some concern. Also, is 6k enough? If enough people are just becoming big leader, maybe these guys aren't as useful. If you need to constantly give Dons to them, you're going to have a tougher time playing on curve. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how this deck works, but I think this Buggy is a really nice consistency piece for sort of getting going in the early game. And the blocker option is very versatile. I like it a lot. Now we finally know what Yamato does. 6/5, 1k, draw 1, trash 1 on play, then activate main, trash his character, play up to 1 black Yamato with a cost of 8 from your trash. So the idea of this is you're going to play this on your 6 Don turn, you do the trash, draw 1, trash 1. If you don't have a Yamato in the trash, big one yet, you can trash that with this effect, which is cool. Then you turn the 6-cost Yamato into one of these 2 8-cost Yamatos, and you've got an 8,000 power rush unit with a good effect. This one has unblockable. This one lets you just grab the 6-cost Yamato straight back and then play a 2-drop, which is going to be something like a blocker or a searcher. It seems good. An 8k rush unit on 6 Don seems good to me. That's kind of similar to what Ace is doing. This Yamato does have to set up a bit of a combo, and I feel like there's some stuff missing from this, because currently these are the only two that you can give rush to with just the Wano package. Now I'm going to talk about Hackable combo in a minute, but I feel like there should be more characters from Wano than just 2 Yamatos that you can give rush to with this leader. Otherwise, it feels a bit narrow. I'm not sure. It feels like if you whiff this on curve, you're just kind of doing nothing. Which, doing nothing on 6, I don't think is good enough anymore. And we do some decent consistency with this deck. They've got a top 4 searcher. We've got a, what is it, the Robin that trashes 1 and draws 2 or something. But yeah, in those games where you do whiff, that's gonna suck. That's gonna suck. Both these Yamatos are good, by the way. Unblockable one is really nice for closing out a game, and the fact that the on KO can play the 6 cost is cool for the Hackable combo, and also just if your opponent plays board and takes this out, well, cool, you get it straight back. This one, again, just gets it straight back, so both of these just give you the 6 drop back, and then this gets a bit of extra value. Well, this one is more vulnerable to your opponent playing board. Slightly, I guess. So what's the Hackable combo? Well, basically, you play Hackable on a previous turn. You hope and pray that your opponent, who is not playing an L, doesn't Mama Ragen it and kill it immediately, or stun it, or some shit. But then, on your 7th on turn, you can play Yamato, activate the effect, turn into the big one, rush with that, and then put your last Don on Hackable, attack with Hackable, KO this Yamato, turn this Yamato into the 6-drop Yamato. Now this has rush from your leader effect, then you can turn it back into the 8-drop Yamato. Now this has rush with your leader effect. So the combo is good. You get 2 8k swings, a 7k swing with this Hackable, and an extra 5k swing with Yamato. You get an extra draw on Trash 1. Both of these are unblockable, and you end up with this on the board and a Hackable for next turn. It's a good combo. It's just heavily reliant on your opponent not dealing with this on curve, which is far easier said than done. But when it does work out, it's really good, and it might be worth playing anyway, depending on what the rest of the Wano supporting set is. This is one of the decks I'm a little bit concerned about not having quite the power to get there, because Ace has a lot of different options. It feels like this deck just has one thing it's doing, although we are still missing a lot of support. So I'm hoping for the Yamato enjoyers that this deck gets something else to sort of play out from Trash and give rush to, because at the minute, it's not incredible. So in terms of summarizing my thoughts briefly, I think the black-yellow Blackbeard is surely good already. This felt very good when I was playing it without the Blackbeard, and that's just a buff. Like, it's just going to be better with that card. You're probably not playing 9-drop Boa anymore. As for what the other cards are, maybe it's the Kuzan, I don't know. I need to test more of this deck to work out what list you'd want to play. And we're going to get more reveals anyway. Green, Blue, Luffy, Buggy, and Ace, I think are interesting. With the current reveals, I think you could play all of them, but until I get a few games in, I'm not sure if their weaknesses are going to sort of outshine their strengths. Ace with the card economy, Buggy, are you going to run out of prisoners or impel down? That's the big thing for me. Are you going to run out, or are you going to get run over before they matter? And Green, Blue, Luffy, I'm just sort of not sure where to put that deck at the minute. I think it's got a lot of interesting things going on, and I really want to test that one very soon. Yamato and Sengoku, we're getting a lot more cards in the set. This is not me saying I think the deck's going to be bad. I just want to see the rest of the support, because with the current reveals, I'm not excited about these two. Sengoku's combo is insane, but it's going to be, I think, too inconsistent without a serious amount more searchers and things in this set. And we currently haven't seen those. We've got 2 1-drop searchers, which are fine. I think this needs bare minimum, like a Germa Kingdom clone, to be functional. But we'll see. If you can get that combo out on 8, it's really good with the 3 Admirals. It's a crazy combo. It's just, the consistency scares me a little bit. And sort of the same thing with Yamato. You don't have anything else to do. You've got one combo. It's the same as Sengoku, but Yamato's you need to do a turn earlier as well. And you do need less cards than Sengoku. But, I don't know, I feel like something else to do would be nice. And some other synergy with the leader effect. Can we get something else that plays a Wano character from Trash? Maybe we'll get an event. That'd be pretty cool. I want to see more support on these two. I'm hoping that the remaining rares that haven't been revealed support these two more than the top 4. That's it for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if there's anything you think I've missed. I am remembering now I didn't talk about the Black Kinemon Searcher. It's a Searcher. It's a good card for Yamato, but it's just a Searcher. It's not, I think, it's not as unique and interesting as the Ace Secret Searcher. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to this set. Blackbeard's a little bit scary, but I don't think the 8 cost is quite as broken as everyone else expected. Maybe. We'll see. It's kind of wild, though, that they thought that could exist in the same format as the Rayquaza garbage, right? Like, they weren't thinking of banning that. That was an emergency ban. That concerns me a little bit for the quality of their playtesting. I don't like to rag on Bandai much, but the fact that they have tested this, because they will have tested this with Rayquaza, like, come on, man. There's no way that was a good combo to have in the game. It was toxic when people are just playing Fury to get it to work. And now I can play an 8-10 that heals that Rayquaza potentially. That's crazy. That's crazy. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.